guys, CreamCrazy here. Welcome to Wrestling Rant 77, and well, I keep saying it every damn time. We're getting closer to 100 and we're still nowhere near it. Anyway guys, I'd like to offer the sincerest apologies for no Battleground review. I've just been, again, not feeling the best of moods, and the work here at uni has been swamping me. So, I have had the time, but I've been so tired out I haven't actually had the chance because I keep falling asleep the minute I get back here, which is a bit irritating. Now, one thing I want to say guys, this video is going to be a little bit different because you see, I've been a WWE fan for over a decade now. I've been a wrestling fan for a similar amount of time, if not a bit shorter. But the thing is, I've been a fan of one more thing longer than this, and it's Formula 1, and you guys know, if you know me well enough, I do enjoy my Formula 1 motor racing, because obviously, being a fan of it since 1996, I remember a huge amount of growing up as a young kid, sitting with the family, watching these races. It's an amazing and massive part of my growing as a fan of sport in general. But the one thing I wanted to do today, and the subject of this video is, do these two seemingly different forms of sport have anything, and I mean anything, in common at all? That's quite simple to really put forward because they do seem different. I mean, obviously one is a physical, predetermined, yet technically legitimate in one regard sport, while the other resulting in combat mostly, and the other one is motorsport. You would say to me, Fred, why are you comparing these? They are completely different. Well, in the desire to find any similarities between these two sports that I do love so much, I wanted to find if there was any. You know, I did some thinking for the last couple of weeks when I didn't have any internet. I said to myself, really, is there anything? But you know what? There is. 5 things that I could think of. There are probably more out there which you all can do your own little assumptions of. But then again, it would be very interesting to see what you guys think nonetheless. First off though, is the one that I really, to be honest with you, know there is a massive similarity between. And I've mentioned it before. And it is fans who bitch about the state of the current product in both. Because we already know, you guys already know my hatred with the IWC. You know that full and well. You know how much I hate wrestling fans bitching about where things are going and why they shouldn't be going that way. Why they should be going their way. Why people aren't getting pushed. The lot. And why, especially, is John Cena on the top, he sucks. The fact of the matter is, Formula 1, and to be honest with you, any form of sport for that matter, has this problem. But Formula 1, I find, has a bit more of a passionate area. While football and other sports can change frequently, and the idea of domination can pass and go pretty easily, Formula 1, while it is mostly consistent with having a different champion every year, which is a fantastic piece of variety, dominance can occur, which results in people like Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel getting continuously lauded and hated upon by people for their dominance. Now, this is the one thing I never really understand. With WWE, I can see why people would want to hate on someone dominating, because there's a reason why they dominate, which doesn't result in their actual efforts, seemingly being money and drawing power being that. Formula 1, you get the top based on the machinery that you have, and dominance in Formula 1 lasts, to me, a lot longer than dominance in WWE does. Formula 1 has breaks between races, breaks between seasons. They have time to prepare for things. When a season comes and goes, a new champion will be crowned or one will retain. There is going to be problems between the fans, bitching, saying, oh, we can't have this domination all the time, it makes races boring, he's at the front all the time. The rants don't stop. The rants even continue further down, complaining about how certain drivers don't deserve to be in Formula 1, like we complain in the IWC that certain wrestlers don't deserve to get pushed. And people will say that some circuits don't belong in the calendar because they're too slow, too many runoff areas, you have too many problems saying Bernie Ecclestone's a troll who shouldn't be in charge of it anymore, and it goes on and on. You know, it just seems to me that Formula 1's fans are so passionate about it, they just can't stop going on about the negatives of how the sport has gone from the 50s heyday, all when it first started as a professional Grand Prix World Championship, to where it is now a giant huge conglomerate. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that they're trying to resolve problems of boring races and viewer decline, when those who are so passionate about it rip it to shreds in the first place. Similarities can be drawn with WWE in that matter. People are the same. Which brings me on to my second point, which I probably mentioned a little bit just now, is the fact that they just don't seem to let go of the past. F1 fans do not like letting go of the past. Same way that WWE fans and wrestling fans are super embedded in nostalgia and the past. WWE fans, the Attitude Era nutjobs, as I call them, are the typical of what they are. And it irritates me, because those kinds of people are what is in a way killing the modern product. And that's just my opinion. Formula 1, it has a small problem where, just like in most other sports, you can analyse over the past and not worry about change happening. You know it's already happened, you can therefore pick apart over it, find out who was the best, and therefore define it. In the modern day, people don't like the fact that they can't analyse meticulously over it in the space of a now. It changes. They can't have their ideas of what things are change whilst it's going on. They don't like that. With the ability to analyse over and over on old footage and watch it and look at it in whatever sepia coloured tone they want on it, they can make their opinions out of it based on that. And it changes their perception of the modern day product, which is my third point, that the modern product just isn't getting enough love because of it. And I don't understand why people need to do that. I don't understand why people who are so nostalgic don't just evolve. Formula 1 has evolved more than I can really imagine. From circuit changes, to rule changes, to team changes, to driver changes. I mean, for fuck's sake. These things happen. And these things do happen because change is inevitable. You can't just stay in the past. And Formula 1 and WWE have been going at the same time. Roughly. They've been going as a massive championship, or in a company sense in WWE, since the 1950s. They've been going for roughly the same amount of time. Why is nostalgia a problem? I didn't grow up in the 80s, but the fact of the matter is, I don't let that stop. I don't let the idea of high TV ratings and high amount of popularity for the sport stop me. I didn't grow up in the 80s with F1 either. I didn't see the Ayrton Senna-Alan Prost rivalry. I didn't see that, and it annoys me that people think, oh, it's better back then. You people who watch today don't know what is good or what isn't. We analyse the past like you do, but we don't take it to heart. And the F1 fans are the same. I mean, they can continuously say, I will note this is true, you continuously say that Ayrton Senna is the greatest driver of all time. No one disputes it. And I know why, because it pretty much is accurate. Hulk Hogan being the greatest of all time? Not so much, on wrestling side. With F1 also, the idea of saying, oh, Schumacher had to fight from behind to win all of his races. He therefore reserved his championships. Sebastian Vettel doesn't because he's been in a car that's at the front most of the time. Let me tell you something. Juan Manuel Fangio won over half the races he competed in and won quite a lot of them from the front row. That to me signals more dominance in the past sense than it does now. Because there were shorter calendar years, shorter races, faster cars. Seriously, nostalgia can kill any fandom. And I've said it for wrestling before, I have said it for F1 now. The same can be said for football, it could be said for basketball, it could be said for any professional sport. Nostalgia kills. And I don't like having to say it because people don't like the idea of nostalgia being more than a warming thing. To me, nostalgia is evil. And I don't know why even I'm saying this when I can get nostalgic in my own right, but at least I don't let it destroy my foundations of what I think. That's the difference. Formula 1 fans and wrestling fans have that in common, where the fandom surrounding the current product is destroyed by this. And it's irritating. Number 3, and I did mention a third point there, but I think I got lost in translation because I'm just on a roll here. I want to get this done as quickly as I can to make my rants not go over the 20-minute mark, which is usual plan if you get what I'm doing. The next point is that dominance at the top is consistent in all. Simple for every sport. But like I've said, not every sport has dominance all the time. Some sports can have long extended periods of dominance, but sometimes, especially in most modern sports, you don't see it a lot. I mean, Super Bowl champions retaining championships. Haven't seen it happen in the modern day. I personally haven't. You look at the MLB World Series. Sure, we had Yankees domination in the other parts of the 20th century, but you don't see a lot of it now. You don't see dominance from one team in MLB. You don't see dominance Okay, sure, you will see dominance at the top of the Premier League and Man United winning pretty much almost every single one of them, bar I think about 5 or 6 of them in the last 20-something years. But now, that dominance seems to be stopping. It can happen at any time. WWE and Formula 1, for me, have intermittent periods of dominance that really are quite significant. But then again, I would say more in WWE's case would this apply, because they have loads of periods in time which you can determine to one person, where they dominate from start to finish of their main event push to their careers ending, and therefore, I mean, look at San Martino's, Backlund's, Hogan's, Undertaker's intermittent stops, with Michaels, Austin, Rock, Triple H, Cena, even now CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. They've got loads of areas of dominance. I would say Randy Orton as well. But Formula 1, with the one champion every year being crowned and then a car losing after months of winter and summer testings, they will lose their ability to keep ground in other teams. That's why a lot of people are only champion once or twice. And those who are champion more than that highlight their superiority. And that's the one thing that's why F1 dominance stands out more than single championship wins. A single championship win can be forgotten in an instant. If you have multiple dominance, you are remembered. WWE, you are remembered because you're on top for a long period of time, or you're on top for a time which is significantly massive in terms of its evolution and its history. Formula 1, if you're on top for an extended period of time, you are remembered for it. You are regarded as a great driver if you've won 3 or more championships, like Senna, like Prost, like I would even say now Vettel because he's about to win a 4th. Fangio back in the day. I mean, you can look at the dominance of Jim Clark as well. I think he only won 3, didn't he? Yes, he did. And I would even say those who have won 2 in the modern day have dominance over it, like Fernando Alonso, stopping Michael Schumacher's run of 4 at the top when he now has 7 overall. He ran and got 2 in a row and is now regarded as one of the greatest of all time because, one, he stopped that dominance and created a decade of showing his brilliance even though he hasn't won a title since 2006. You know, to me, dominance in Formula 1 is more impressive than dominance in WWE. And I had to find that dominance in WWE, while it is not as impressive as dominance in Formula 1 is, it still impresses me that someone could stay on top and have confidence in that company for so long that they're given that period of dominance. That's how it goes. You know, dominance is existing in many sports, but because of that intermittent change, it doesn't. You can have a long period of dominance and then see it disappear. Like Lyon in the French Football League. They won the title in 7 consecutive years from 2000 to 2007. They then lost that and haven't won a title since. I mean, look at how swiftly and changed dominance can happen in these sports, and Formula 1 and WWE have that consistent pattern where it'll be so noteworthy, you will remember it. You will notice it. You will sit up and take notice and go, oh, this is cool, this is interesting. And people will complain about it, like they always do. Dominance gets complained about. Man United got complained about. Sebastian Vettel gets complained about. Cena gets complained about. Again, we get back to the bitching fan argument. Dominance highlights superiority, but those who are weaker than them, aka the fans, don't like that superiority complex and they will want to throw it down the sink. And that's one of the reasons why declining viewing figures happen, because dominance should create an anticipation for that son of a bitch to be beaten. Unfortunately, it does not happen. And why that doesn't happen, I have no idea. Maybe because most people don't follow narratives properly nowadays. I do not know. Number 4 now is, like I've said already, these 2 companies have been around for an equal amount of time and have a long and storied history. But again, nostalgia does play into it. And that long history gives me an understanding that these 2 are the top of their field. They're the 2 places that everyone who goes into motor racing and professional wrestling want to reach, these 2 companies. And no matter who you are, even if you go to either one and find your experience limited, whether in WWE, whether it's only in developmental, or you get an undercard or mid-card role and you disappear, or you're relegated to the Heat, or Velocity shows, or Superstars or Main Event nowadays, you will say, I have been in WWE, I know what the experience is like, and I got more money paid for me than I've ever received in my life. Formula 1, you can reach the top and only drive in a test driving capacity, or be a driver for 1 season, but you can say you have driven it, and you can be happy to know your career reached that high. And that's the one thing that I love about it. These 2 companies are so storied, so strong in their history, that anyone will want to go to it and make a mark. And they will try. no matter how much politicking goes inside both of them, no matter how much change goes on inside both of them, it will happen. And that's something I find really awesome. That when you reach that, you have to take the full advantage of what you can and make yourself something. If you don't, you're going to regret it. And a lot of wrestlers and Formula 1 drivers, and racing drivers I should technically say, have regretted some of the chances they've ever had at the top. That they made mistakes. And they will not probably get back to that point ever again. And that's the thing. It's just such a storied thing that makes you desire to reach the top. Now, while Formula 1 may not what many people say is the fastest cars in the world going around tracks at the fastest speeds, and WWE is not the technical pinnacle being where anyone can get an opportunity anymore, we all know that if you're in your respective businesses, you want to reach that. And that's pretty much it. You want to reach these two companies, these two juggernauts, these two conglomerates of their field, and make it. And if you don't want to reach them, then your career aspirations aren't really the biggest. That drive to reach it is what creates the fire inside them to achieve what they can at lower levels. And that's what I mean. Most other places, I don't understand how that system works. I don't understand why in American football you have the college football underneath the National League, but more people turn out to watch the college than they do the national. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand why the college football is bigger than American football's NFL. I don't understand that. That should be the pinnacle. It shouldn't be that the one underneath has bigger implications. It really doesn't make sense to me. And that's one thing that you need a hierarchy at the top of the mountain. And if your hierarchy at the top of the mountain is superseded by something smaller, then there's no point in it. It's like saying in the MLB, there's no underlying notion of where they go. They just go straight from playing baseballs in minor leagues into the MLB. The minor leagues don't get too much of a showing in that sport. Therefore, when you go to that, you think, oh, I've made it somewhere now. And it works out. The final point I want to make is that both of these two companies, these two, well, one being a body of motors of the FIA, the other one being WWE, they are both massive money bringers. And that's the brilliant thing that is the similarity between these two. Because they are the dominant parties in their field, they make more money. Formula 1 requires so much money to do something in. Same with WWE. WWE, you need to obviously get all the stage sets, the ring stuff, the graphics notion for all the producers, you need to get all the hiring and the writers in, you need to get all the events licenses done, you need to get all your trademarks paid so you can use the names you need, all that stuff, along with multiple feeds of money and merchandising and all that stuff. And then Formula 1, the costs spiral. I mean, for the love of God, the costs... I want to punch someone in the face knowing how expensive Formula 1 racing is. I mean, it costs over nearly £300,000 to £500,000, possibly even £1 million, to make the parts necessary to make a Formula 1 car. And every time one of them crashes, that's hundreds of thousands of pounds and dollars down the drain. That, to me, is mad. You then look at the accommodation for every single mechanic, engineer, and PR person, along with the drivers themselves. You look at all the housing needed for those parts, all of the television crews going around the world with them to make this stuff happen. The costs in the millions that you need to license a track out for it. The amount of money it costs, I think it costs about 2 or 3 million to get an FIA super license to race in it. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling even when you look at the fact that it costs upwards of £25 million to make an F1 team, to pay the FIA, to pay them to actually put your team in. You're paying so much money in, you've got to then forward up even more money. That's the reason why supplier teams have gone. That's the reason why work teams are gone. You can't get into the sport nowadays without a shit ton of money. And WWE had to venture into movies and sponsoring charitable organisations to keep money coming in when their product started declining. And F1 had to put the costs up because they had to increase their revenue somehow when advertising wouldn't give them what they needed at the beginning of the 70s and 80s. They needed to up it more and more. And you can kind of see now, I've gone on nearly at my 20-minute mark, saying that there is obvious differences. I know that Formula 1 is motorsport, and WWE is predetermined theatrical combat at its, I wouldn't say finest, that would be cutting it some real slack, but you know what I mean. WWE and Formula 1 may be different on the outset just by determining what they are, but you dig a little bit deeper and you say they are kind of similar in some way or another. And you may be saying to me, Fred, every other sport is like this. Yeah, I can understand. I've referenced countless other sports in this little rant here, but for the love of God, it is pretty much a given. These similarities can be found anywhere, but I have chosen one duo to look in, and it happened to be that this is how it went. So if you're going to complain, please don't. I'm just stating what I think, and I'm hoping you guys understand that. Phew! And that is done, guys. 20 minutes and 45 seconds. This is officially done. Well, that's how long this little portion of it. I don't count the intro, which lasts around 30 seconds. But nonetheless, guys, what do you think? Put your comments down there in the comment section below and click the subscribe and like buttons, because that will continue to give me the reason to keep uploading stuff for you. And it will cause me to actually do some more work on this, in spite of my university schedule. Also, guys, next week will be my October Q&A. I should have given you a time sooner, but if you haven't posted your 3 Q&A questions, whether they be personal or wrestling related, go ahead and do so, because next week will be the day I do it. October the 20th is the day. I haven't got any other time in the build-up to next week after to do it. I might as well do it this upcoming week. So send in your questions now. Also, guys, if you want to keep in contact with social networking and my other stuff, click on all of the social networking bit-bobs in the description box, and they're on the screen right now. You're looking at them. Also, you have to click on CCVGP. Please subscribe to my video game playthrough channel. I haven't been able to make any content due to my sound being completely destroyed on my speakers, but that won't stop me. So I'm going to try and build some content over the next week and try and get it out despite that problem. This week I haven't been able to, and I apologise, but there should be something up by the end of this week. I will try my damnedest to ensure it. Guys, I've been Cream Crazy, you've been people listening. This has been my similarity argument on Formula 1 and WWE, and I will see you next time. Cream Crazy's Wrestling Rant, representing professionalism in the IWC since 2010. Cheers!